thought we left the site of the Super Bowl friends with a certain group.
I mean, I thought he was cool.
Yeah.
You?
I thought he was too.
I thought he was great.
You know?
Bobby?
I loved him.
All right.
We got drunk together. It was great.
Bobby and Will Brinson and the CBS Sports team were all sharing drinks at the media party, but it was not to be because the quarterback list came out from Will and CBSSports.com, which he responded to our segment over it on social media.
Yeah, look, and I'll tell Will this here in a sec. We had drinks, but you called my kid ugly. You told me my kid was ugly.
Yeah.
And now I gotta talk to you about it. But we did. We talked about this list on Friday, and the fan account tweeted it, tagged him in it, and Will Brinson said, "See, I would rather y'all just have me on than make me listen to see if I got out of context dragged." And so now we can. We bring him on the airwaves. Welcome, CBS's Will Brinson. Will, how you doing?
What's up, fellas? Last time we hung out, that was a blast. We got a little loosey goosey at the NFL media party, and I would say that I think that this is a case of me. I didn't call your kid ugly. What I did was I said, "Look at that ugly kid," and you mistook it as me calling your kid ugly. I was really calling the Cardinals kid ugly. That's what I was doing.
Oh.
You know what the worst part of this is, like, not the worst part. Well, one, the list came out, and the timing wasn't even really, like, my editor was like, "Here, publish it on July 5th, right? Still July 5th." Not thinking, okay, this list is going to run in the middle of the deadest period of the sports calendar. Like, it was not intentional, and it has resulted in me getting some heat back because also my colleague Chris Trapasso, I'm not afraid to throw under the bus, tweeted out the tiers, the list, with zero context related to the actual article or the names of the tiers.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the beef really got started because the most mad people were Jets fans because Aaron Rodgers was in tier 3, and Cowboys fans because Dak was in tier 4 and Danny Dimes was in tier 3.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask me a mean question, or do you want me to continue along with my diatribe about why that ranking occurred?
Well, I'll recap the tiers and the names, and then you can continue your diatribe. The big three, Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen. Tier 2 category could join them next year amongst the elites. Herbert, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts. Tier 3 is intrigue with question marks. Rodgers, Stafford, Tua, Fields, Daniel Jones, Watson, Russell Wilson. And then tier 4, you can win with these guys: Jared Goff, Geno, Cousins, Tannehill, Carr, Jimmy G, and then Dak Prescott. And what I said, if you listen to the segment and the playback,
I didn't listen. By the way, I just figured you guys would have me on and tell me what you said.
Okay. Well, I defended you, Will, because what happens with these things is we just count the names and we see how many how many numbers it takes till our guy comes up. And if you just do that off this list, Dak comes in at 15 or 16, which is pretty insulting in our opinion. But I said you actually got to read the categories, and that's where things got lost.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
on the surface, it appears very insulting that you have Dak Prescott behind Justin Fields and Daniel Jones, as you said, and in the same category with someone who's done it for 1 year in Geno Smith and someone who may be done in Ryan Tannehill. Go.
It's like, this is obviously the toughest part of the list, right? I mean, people sort of got Eagles fans were really ticked off that Jalen Hurts wasn't in the first tier. I think, like, one, you got to validate it to, let's have it, back it up with another season. I think the Eagles did go to the Super Bowl last year. So, it's not like I hate Jalen Hurts, and I said Hurts might take a small step, and that's why the Eagles would be better. He took a huge leap forward, but let's see him validate it. It's like when you get closer to the pin on a par 3, like you got to two putt it. Okay. Like, I mean, I want to see the two putt. You get that par and validate it. Also, my podcast producer is an Eagles fan. I like trolling him by putting Hurts in the second tier. With the Dak thing, is exactly right. Is like I think Dak Prescott's great. I'm a big Dak Prescott fan, but I do think that if you talk about Daniel Jones versus Dak Prescott, there is an unknown about what Daniel Jones might become now that he has a competent coaching staff. I think we can. I mean, and you guys, maybe you guys disagree, but I think we can safely say we know what Dak Prescott is.
Which is what?
I think he's a top 10 quarterback, right? I mean, like top 10-ish quarterback. I don't think Dak. This is the argument with the Dak thing. I don't know that Dak has another level that he's going to take his. Like, I don't know that he's going to elevate to another level. Like, I think we know what his ceiling is. It's a really good ceiling. You know, it's a better ceiling than Ryan Tannehill or Geno Smith. It's just that, I mean, the Seahawks showed that they can win with Geno Smith. I mean, the Titans got the number 1 seed in the AFC with Ryan Tannehill. You can win with those guys. The Cowboys have won a lot of games with Dak Prescott. I don't know that, I don't know what Justin Fields is. Being in tier 3 is not necessarily even better than being in tier 4.
That's what I was going to ask.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I have Daniel Jones ahead of Dak Prescott. We don't know what Daniel Jones is. We don't know what Justin Fields is. Like, if you said you have 5 years of Dak Prescott or Justin Fields starting right now, I'm probably taking Dak Prescott because I know I'm going to get, you're going to get a really good Pro Bowl, borderline All-Pro caliber performance, and you can win with him. I don't know that the answer is the same for Geno Smith and Justin Fields. And the other thing too is they're not really ranked within the tiers. It's not. Like, if Dak, I know where Dak is listed in that tier. Like, he would be the top of that tier for me.
So we're talking with Will Brinson here from CBS Sports. So would you say then, because it was where I got hung up and where RJ Choppy and I had a disagreement on Friday, was the fact that it said tier. Because when I hear tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, I'm thinking these are stacked in order. So would you say that maybe they should have been called groups? Like group 1, group 2, because you're saying these are not stacked by ability. You're just saying these are the way you would group them in as quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I mean, that's more accurate. I mean, nuance and context not a thing in July when we're talking about the NFL, right?
Right.
And I think too that coaching matters. And I'm not we're going to get into a Mike McCarthy thing, but Mike McCarthy did come out this offseason and say, Kellen Moore will light up the scoreboard. I'm trying to run the damn ball. And it's like, well, all right, you have now you were saying you want to score less points, score fewer points, which is an interesting concept.
Yep.
I know that's not really what he means, but I do think that we're going to, what is that offense? And look, Aaron Rodgers is great in Mike McCarthy's offense. There's a history of quarterbacks playing well in that offense. So I'm not saying that Dak is going to take a step back, but if that is going to be the case, and maybe it is just lip service, and he's just trying to say that's what he wants to do, and that's why he moved on from Kellen, and he wants to call plays, whatever it is. I think you can reasonably make the assertion that if based on what Mike McCarthy's saying, that he wants Dak to do less to throw less. I mean, that's literally what he's saying. So if that's the case, there is a little bit of projection here. Like, Trevor Lawrence didn't play as, you wouldn't rank Trevor Lawrence ahead of Jalen Hurts based on 2022 alone. But if you're projecting into 2023, I think Lawrence will be better than Hurts and will be considered better than Hurts. And I'm not saying that Daniel Jones will be considered better than Dak. I'm just saying that, I think that the way that things are playing out with the setup and just sort of what we've seen, that we might have seen the ceiling for Dak. That's not a bad thing.
Is it laughable, in your opinion, if we suggested that Dak is equal to Jalen Hurts or still better?
I don't think that's laughable. No.
Okay.
I think we are so quick. We say this. It's we're so quick to rush to judgment, and then every Monday morning, it's this team is dead. It's we try to have nuance and context. Dak. It is not a crazy statement to say that Dak is still the best quarterback in the NFC East. Everybody would have said that before last season.
Yeah.
And I think that you could come out of 2023 and Dak could be considered better than Jalen Hurts. And that's the thing about the groups thing versus the tiers thing makes a lot of sense too, because I'm not saying that the tier 2 guys are all going to become tier 1 guys. One of those dudes could become a tier 4 guy, or it's the possibility exists for them to just have an enormous season and move into that first tier. But I think the tier 4 guys, to me, those were just who have we seen the ceiling on all these guys, right? And I'm not saying that Dak is Kirk Cousins. right? I mean, I want Dak over Kirk. I want Dak over Jimmy G. I want Dak over Derek Carr. But like I feel like we have a good grasp on who those players are at the quarterback position, which is considered an insult, but it actually can be considered a good thing.
Will Brinson joining us here on 105 through the Fan. Who was the toughest quarterback to place?
Good question. I mean, it might be Daniel Jones. With him, like Brian Dable did such an incredible job with Josh Allen. He leaves. Josh Allen leads the league in turnovers. Allen could have, if I put him in tier 2, Buffalo would have come to my house. This entire city burned down. And then, I mean,
did you think about just making Mahomes, by the way, just tier 1 by himself?
Yeah, but I didn't want I was gonna have to do some like the kids say him, he's him, or whatever. I was gonna have to do that. Was the reference that kept popping in my head. I was like, I really don't want to do that. I hate that phrase. So Mahomes easily could have been solo. And I think I would take Burrow over Allen personally. But yeah, the tier, the tier 3 guys were just difficult because Aaron Rodgers was maybe the toughest because his age. How can you possibly put him? He's won 2 MVPs in the last 3 years, so I'm putting him in tier 3. Of course, Jet fans, I understand why you're mad about it, but like putting him in tier 2 at his age would be weird. And I do have questions about moving to a new franchise for the first time in his career. The assumption that this offensive line, which on paper looks great right now, but it features an older Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton, who hasn't lived up to his promise because of injuries. Like there's paths where the Jets aren't great, right? I mean, it didn't go so well for Favre in the second half of the season either. So it's like the Jets fans and Browns fans this offseason are just like, guys, you haven't won anything in like 40 years. Settle down. Like just enjoy the hype train, man. You don't have to get mad at me because I'm pumping the brakes a bit.
Will, let me throw a dirty accusation and theory that I've long held your way since you work for a big major outlet.
Oh, by all means, I love conspiracies and I can tell you blindly that whatever you're accusing me of, I am guilty of.
Okay, when it comes to these lists, it is my opinion that if not you, the editor, the head of the internet, the head of the content says, where can we put a Cowboy opinion that will possibly go viral? How can we throw Dak Prescott in a category or somewhere on a list to get this attention? To that you say what?
I would say that you are not incorrect in the belief and assumption that when the Cowboys are in the discussion, that they certainly will drive more additional conversation, and that we know that when we talk about the Cowboys, it's more likely to pop. I can tell you with all honesty that there was none of that in this particular list. And if you question my morals and my integrity in telling you that statement, I will then point out that I wrote most of this list on the evening of July 4th and was not interested in trolling anybody so much as just getting my work done and going to sleep.
Right, right. Well, what I love on the fan cam is it says, put that back up, Ryan. Will Brinson recently ranked Dak Prescott as a tier 4 quarterback, newest enemy of the Bobby Belt Dak fan club. So we just wanted to be upfront about it. I think we sorted things out here. This could have been much uglier.
I think we did. Look, I mean, like I said, we shared drinks at Super Bowl, even though Chris Hassel big timed me.
He did.
Will didn't. Will sat there and drank with me. And now that we have some clarification and Will acknowledges that he's a top 10 quarterback, then we can, again in Vegas, do shots of Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
So.
My biggest concern is that, because of the CBS Super Bowl, is that they're going to go through like a list of like, all right, who can we not send to Vegas for a week? And I'm going to be at the top of that. We can't do this. I will point out too, by the way, that for all the stuff that Kyler tweeted about this list.
Yeah.
And they ended up the tweet that Kyler wrote ended up going on the Daily Mail or something ridiculous. He's tier 6, dude, because nobody knows if you're playing. Like, I don't have a clue if you're playing. You don't know if you're playing. Like it is groups is probably better than tiers, but that's an editor thing.
Will, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being a good sport, and we'll continue to monitor all of your lists. Did you come up with the categories, by the way?
Yeah, you can tell because they're like weird names. Yeah, I mean, I had some weirder ones I was going to do. By the way, shout out to the Evans family if they're listening. My peeps in Dallas.
The Adams family.
The Evans.
The Evans.
Oh, yeah. Chris Evans. Mike Evans.
Thank you, Will. We appreciate it. Our buddy from the Super Bowl, still our buddy, I guess, after this interview, Will Brinson, CBSSports.com.